Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome the beautiful, cerebral, with a lovely smile, Bumi Aboderi Talabi, Doctor. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Did we all enjoy lunch? Okay, can we stand up on our feet, please? If there's someone you haven't met yet, just turn around, shake their hand, smile, tell them one nice thing about them, and then do a stretch to the left, a stretch to the right, a stretch up. Okay. Fantastic. So let's sit down. Let's sit down. We have a session. Fantastic. Love it. Love it. We have a session called Limitless Ventures, Soaring over Setbacks. So I'm going to introduce the panelists. So let's settle down. Yeah. Let's settle down. Fantastic. Usually people don't like the session immediately after lunch, but this session is going to be different. We're all going to love it, right? Yeah, right, yes. Okay, great. So, setbacks. We all encounter them from time to time, whether it's a lack of time, financial obstacles, workplace obstacles, scapegoating, issues in a family business, a non-cooperative spouse, a debilitating medical condition, even sabotage, outright sabotage at work. So I'm going to continue, but I'm going to ask that we be quiet and just focus. Thank you. Thank you. Some people are more bothered by it than I am. I actually thrive on the energy, but it's okay. So, glass cliff, glass ceiling, getting a promotion that's a false promotion, something set up to bring you down. So, why is it that some different people go through these same challenges, but they come out with different outcomes? Some soar over the setbacks, and others are impeded by it, and others still are crushed by it. What makes the difference? So we've had some hints today from various speakers that our mindset plays a significant role in our outcome. So when you encounter a setback, when you fail at a project, do you see that failure as final? Do you see it as defining of who you are, or do you just see it as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity for development? Someone once said, you don't fail until you stop trying. So is your thinking obstructing your development? Are you getting in your own way? This is going to be a self-reflective panel discussion that will help us see how far along the continuum we are between having a fixed mindset or having a growth mindset. I'm sure we've all read Carol Dweck's book, right? So we know what I'm talking about. If not, it's a great book to get. So, our panelists today, I want you to join me in welcoming Grace Ofure. Grace is a real estate investment expert with interest in several countries, the proprietress of an online university, an author, a wealth creation coach, and she is the CEO of Lifecard International Investments Limited. A round of applause, please. Please come up. Next, I'm going to invite Mr. Melody Fidel Okwu-Azu. Melody Fidel is an entrepreneurship advocate, a brand engagement specialist, a business strategist, and a globe-trotting, two-time Future Award-winning project manager. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Mint Industries Limited. Please welcome Melody Fidel. Next up, we have Dr. Evelyn Okpanachi. Dr. Evelyn, as you see her so small but mighty. She has not one, but 2 PhDs. Count them, 2 PhDs. She is a serial entrepreneur, a leadership strategist, a techpreneur, a women's advocate, and a healthcare professional, all rolled into one gorgeous ball. So, Dr. Evelyn, please come to the stage. Kindly welcome her. Round of applause for her. Like Binta said, we celebrate everyone here. And last, but by no means least, we have Beth Knight, who is a social impact advocate, a business transformation and systems change strategist, a consultant, a director on many boards, a senior associate at the University of Cambridge, and the head tutor for the Business Sustainability Management Executive Education Program. Please welcome Beth Knight. So, what time, Madam Timekeeper, what time did we start? So we know? 3:27 now. Okay, so we have approximately 40 minutes, I believe, for our panel discussion, so I'll need your help with this. So what I'm going to beg our panelists for is we keep our answers to just 3 minutes each, and we'll see if we can get at least 3 questions each for each panelist. So here we go. First question is going to be to Madam Grace. What has been the most difficult situation that you've faced in your business, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, thank you so very much. Just first of all, I just want to say thank you to the organizers of this program. I'm so grateful to be seated among very inspiring women. One of the challenges that I've faced in my business is even starting a business at all. I think that everyone just wants to do something, but I just found myself in a very peculiar challenging environment like Nigeria, not even being able to get a job after going to school. So sometimes you're just left to start something. And so I started something. As a graduate, I went into the first ever business that was a very good business for me to start with, was selling fairly used clothes on the streets of Lagos. I was actually hawking used clothes as a graduate. But one thing that kept me is exactly the questions that you ask. Most of the challenges in business is starting the business at all. And being in an environment where you really desire a change and you come from a background where nobody there can help and everybody's looking at helping you or looking at you helping them. So the challenge was how I was going to help a multitude of people from needing help myself. But I was fortunate enough to stumble into the real estate space, not really because I was interested, but because I was very hungry. But when I get into the space, exactly what my mentor just said, there are always opportunities. What do you do with it? Can you even see? Are you smart? Are you beautiful? And that's what our mommy said. I love her so much. Because there's something that she did for me 2 years ago that I think every woman needs to listen. And so the challenge was what? Capital. You can have beautiful ideas in the nation I come from. Very proud to be in Nigeria, or stay in Nigeria and live there in Nigeria. The reason why I just tried to go outside yesterday and I was feeling too much cold. And the London people told me that they don't know why I'm cold because London is hot. So I told them that's why I'm in Nigeria and that's why I cannot relocate or japa. But
Grace,
then, so the challenge was
I don't want to have to rush you, my love.
Yes, the challenge was the capital. How do you get funding for ideas? And that was a very big challenge. But what I did was to take one person as important as everybody. And just taking one person and allowing the person trust me. Now I can say that sometimes I have to reject money.
Okay, well, there you go. Thank you. Thank you. So the next question I'm going to ask is to Beth. Okay? So Beth, some people talk about converting obstacles into stepping stones. How feasible is that? Like from Grace's example now, she was able to make something with what she had. She started where she was. So how feasible is it to do that? And can you share an instance in your career when you were able to do something similar?
Wow, that's a tough question. I think what I would take from that and just echo is hustling, to be honest. So I'm from the southwest of Britain, a place called Cornwall. Come from a village, working class family. And I worked very hard, but the point around being smart is not necessarily everything really resonated with me. And I think one of the things that I've always been mindful of when we talk about the metaphor we heard earlier around doors opening is sometimes the biggest barrier can be yourself. It can be the person on your shoulder telling you that you're not good enough. It can be the small girl that was bullied at school, maybe, or who had the wrong accent. And I had a very strong West Country accent, and I talk like that. And you shake these things off. And two bits of advice, maybe, that have served me well. One has been assessing if that door is a two-way door. So if you walk through that door and you find that you've made the wrong decision, or the environment on the other side of that door wasn't great, or what you thought it would be, or what you signed up for, or maybe the person that opened that door for you has used you, or it wasn't with good intent that they did that, as long as you know that that's a two-way door, you can turn around and you can walk back again. If that is a one-way door, and you walk through that door and that opportunity, and you are saying no to other things, or that door is shutting behind you, take longer over that decision. Because when that door shuts behind you, it's very hard to turn around and walk back again.
Okay, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I have a question for Evelyn. The title of this panel discussion reminds me of a book called The Battlefield of the Mind. And you've also written a book on emotional empowerment. So I have a double-barrel question for you, actually, Doc. Do you agree that a setback is a mental construct? And how can one be emotionally empowered or mentally strengthened to overcome these setbacks?
Thank you. So first of all, good afternoon, everybody, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm definitely impressed with what Wimbis have put together, so definitely I would like to give a big round of applause to them first. Thank you. So in terms of, back to your question, so what does that mean around the mind? So what I would say, there's a reason why I wrote the book, The Emotionally Empowered Woman, because I do believe that you need to be emotionally balanced in life, especially as an entrepreneur as well. So as we know, emotions is very fluctuating. So we make decisions when we are a high emotion or a low emotion. Sometimes that could actually lead to catastrophe. So we really need to understand that we need to be balanced. And so emotional empowerment is about being balanced as a woman, first off. Now, in terms of Battlefield of the Mind, I absolutely love that book as well. So it does talk about mental blocks in the mind. And you mentioned something already, which is around having a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So if you want to move further and forward in life, you need to have a growth mindset. So you need to be able to adapt to change. And so yes, it is down to us as individuals to move those blocks from our minds, take off those limits. And so it really depends on how we see that particular issue. And so it's not a setback. Actually, is it not a learning curve? So it's not failure. Is it not just a stepping stone to success? So that's the way I would see a setback. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, supporting the notion that it is in the mind, and how you choose to approach it greatly impacts what you get out of it or how you come out of it. Melody Fidel, blessed is he in the midst of them.
Yes.
Okay, so what does it mean to soar over setbacks? What does that mean?
All right, first I want to say thank you to Wimbis for giving me this opportunity. It's a great honor. I should be the youngest among the speakers. I will be 33 in a few days, October 13. Yeah. So I'm blessed among babes. All right, yeah. Okay. And I'm Melody Fidel, and I'm your friend. So back to your question. I see setup is not setback. Okay. Most of the setback we see or we get ourselves involved in, you see most persons, especially when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, they think setback is when you're trying to start a business, the money you are looking for. No, that's the process to set up a business, all right? And these processes is what will set you up, all right? So setback, when you look at it from a critical angle. There's a lot of things that can bring setback to you. It could be your emotional intelligence, it could be mismanagement, it could be customer relationship, and all that. So how do you overcome these things? First, you must understand your short, mid, and long term when it comes to your business and entrepreneurship. You must know where you are going and where you are coming from. This will help you to always see these setbacks as an inspiration to keep moving. Okay, it will always make you to follow one course until success, which is focus. All right, so setback basically is a blessing in disguise when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. It's not something that you should beat yourself over. It's what will make you stronger. It's what will make you understand the rope your own way. Okay, so always embrace it. Don't be scared to say, oh, okay, this is happening, I want to know. It's part of the process. You heard when Dr. Mrs. Awoshika was saying a lot of things. I was just smiling. If I was tearing up there when I was watching everything, because it took me back to memory like when I started my business at the age of 19, 2010. So I could remember all these processes, how many rejection. But to look at where I am today, I'm speaking among babes, women, yeah? All right, so it's great. So basically, setup is one of those, the basic thing you need practically, okay, to set you up there in that your journey as a business person or as an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Thank you. So in short, a setback could be viewed as a setup instead, a setup for greatness, a setup, an opportunity. Madam Grace, back to you. You have a very, very compelling story, a compelling testimony. I have seen your YouTube video. And I wonder, there may be, as much as everybody in here is looking beautiful, gorgeous, well-dressed, smelling beautiful and everything, there may be some people who are going through something that is not too dissimilar to what you went through. So without getting too personal, or getting personal if you really want to, can you share something that may help someone who perhaps is facing a financial challenge? They want to set up a business, they have a really great business idea, and they're wondering how to fund it, how to finance it, or simply they want to have the next meal, and they're wondering how to do that. Could you please speak to that? Thank you.
The very first thing I will say, thank you so much for the question, is know that you were born to be great. Everyone has greatness locked up on the inside of you. And one person, it's enough to open the door and keep you in the room. So treat everyone looking at this person might just be the door that you need. And the second thing is be people focused. Truly love people. Even if you do not have what it takes to start a business, you do not have what it takes for your finances to go to the next level. People are the finance. Do you truly love people? Are you really burning in desire to help people, irrespective of the fact that you need help yourself? The truth is, as much as you are interested in people, you want people to be better, even if you need help. Something will just click. There's just going to be this thing that normally happens. Willing to give what you don't have. We bring to you what you need. So if you look at the story, I just wanted to help people stop being scammed when it comes to real estate investment. I just wanted to help. I just wanted to teach people the right thing to do. I just wanted them to understand these are the things you should look at. Don't become gullible. Just trying to help people, especially Nigerians in diaspora. I was just passionate about this next person that will cry, this next thing that will happen to their money, hard-earned money. Even if I had not entered an aircraft, I watch television and I see how hard the black people work. So it was out of just trying to help. So I just felt that I can help. I have a voice. I'm in a place that 3-4 people can listen to me. So what did I do? I educated myself and I started to share the knowledge. And that opened up a world that has taken me almost everywhere. And I'm so grateful. Just love people genuinely. Genuinely. Just love people genuinely. Just love them. In the midst of loving them, You play the character of a creator and you become God.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please, a round of applause for her. She's saying to add value, be people-centric, love people, do things with a pure heart, with a pure motive, a motive to help and to be of service to humanity. Thank you so much for that. Evelyn, what types of setback have you had to overcome in your journey, either as an academic or as an entrepreneur who has built organizations in different countries?
So that's a very big question. Thank you. So multiple setbacks. So I don't think there's any entrepreneur that hasn't experienced setbacks. But I would like to say the one particular one was around COVID. So our leadership consultancy, my husband wanted us to expand that globally. And so the setback was COVID, where we couldn't travel to, we were traveling to Dubai. And at that point, the UK went on the red list. And so we've already set up a conference, we were expanding, and we were thinking, how do we get there? So this is really a story of never give up, because we then looked at other avenues. There has to be a way. We won't counsel. People have already signed up to be part of this conference. So 3 countries later, so we found another route. Of course, it was all legal, so I know it's being recorded. So it was all legal. We went to 3 countries to get to Dubai. And we then held a very successful conference. But I guess, you know, we had the option of, first of all, do we hold this, postpone this, or do we continue? And so for me, this is all about pushing forward, keep going. There's always another route. So it's not about changing the goal. It's about sometimes changing the strategy. So keep going. And I believe that for us was a setback that turned, I was saying, to victory.
Very good. Thank you. So keep going. Don't give up. Even when it looks like things are tough, sometimes the door will open as you move forward. So, Beth, a question for you. As a business transformation and systems change strategist, what advice would you offer a business leader faced with the mixed blessing of rapid organizational growth? We tend to think of growth as something good, but not always in all circumstances. But what advice would you give someone who is currently going through rapid organizational growth?
Well, congratulations, firstly. Very good. Nice problem to have, right? I think that a big part of this is staying true to the purpose of the organisation, right? The minute you start getting success, it's like a rock rolling down a hill, right? It builds and it builds and it rolls and it rolls, and you find that the business may grow arms, may grow legs, may move into areas that perhaps are revenue generating and lucrative, but not necessarily true to the purpose and the integrity with which that you started that business. And sometimes there may be difficult decisions to make. You may have to say no to money. Oh, gosh, craziness. You may have to float off parts of your business, carve it off. Maybe you've got so many different revenue streams that it isn't in service of that core mission of the organisation, that sense of agency that you had as the founder, let's say in this scenario, and that's okay. And what you might find is that you grow into having either a diversified business portfolio. You may have a smaller business there that needs to separate out from the initial one, or you may just need to say no to stuff, because in that growth, you also need to be very astute around when you need to stabilize, when you need to build strong, trusted teams around you, and you're often only as good as the people that you are surrounded by. And a helpful way to do that is also to build accountability into that. So having a trusted advisor, for some people that's a board. If you're not quite big enough yet to have a board, it might be a steering group. But essentially, what at a very basic level, what that means is a small group of trusted people that have the right skills and the diversity of thought that help you make good decisions. We can't be experts in everything, but we can be wise and we can be humble and ask for advice when we need it.
Fantastic, thank you. So sort of like the group, the Oja group that we were told about earlier on, having a forum, having a small group of trusted people to whom you can be accountable, from whom you can, with whom you can bounce ideas. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you another question about raising funds. So there may be some people here who have an idea, they want to raise funds for their business venture here in the UK. What advice would you give? Like, where should they start looking for funding for their enterprise?
Yeah. there's many different opportunities, and I know that sometimes it can feel hard, and part of that is because it's overwhelming. It's very devolved in this country as to where and how you can access capital, investors and advisors. So the first thing I would say is getting really clear on the purpose and the focus of your organisation, being really clear on the structure that you want to build around your concept. So you could build a community interest company, a social enterprise. There could be a philanthropy component. How you set up that business will have an impact on what funding routes you have access to. And so being very mindful about that, educating yourself on that. You can go to incubator sessions. There's things online now that you can access to educate yourself around that. Set yourself up for success, knowing and understanding where the financial capital pertinent to your sector and business idea can be found. And there's also, really practically, there are platforms you can use. And I've committed to sharing some examples of those with the organiser of this event, so they can send you some hyperlinks afterwards. But there are now platforms now that you can go onto. You can build in and enter your business, share information, and it will throw back to you grant opportunities if you're eligible for that. It will put you in touch with investor communities, depending on the size and scale of the organisation that you're doing. It may also recommend things like looking at some of the tech companies that run hubs, incubator, innovation labs. And these exist both physically. There's hubs in London, Cambridge, Manchester, Birmingham, but also online now. And so you can increasingly get these things at your fingertips if you know where to look. And I think this is important because this used to be, the old boys club here of who had access to the network and the information, and technology has blown all that up now, which is wonderful. And we've got groups like this that exist to help and support one another, which I think is great.
Thank you. So you'll send us some links which we can share with people.
I promise I will, yes.
Fantastic, thank you. A question for Fidel, for Melody Fidel. What is the most challenging aspect of your career here in the UK as a professional that's come from another country, and how have you soared above that?
All right, thank you. The first challenge is the culture shock. Once you come into the UK, it's different, yeah? First, from the driving, what we do back in Nigeria is not the same. In Nigeria, I could just park in front of your house, and when you shout, I'll tell you, waka. But here, you can't even try it. You need to see where you need to park. You must be on the lookout. You must look your left and right. Everything is so different.
It's rule of law.
Yeah. Something else is a knowledge gap. All right. Now, where I'm from, which is Nigeria, a proud Nigerian, our certificate, most of our certificates and qualification is not valued in a Western world such as the UK. Okay, you need to come here and do something practically in that field, get a qualification in that field to enable you, okay, move ahead. So, but for me, what I did was this. When I came in, I had to start doing, my business, I had to start doing pro bono. I had to start doing pro bono so that you can know about my business. Just get this thing for free.
One house, please.
All
so
right.
Sorry, let's show respect to the person speaking and just pay attention. Thank you. Please continue, sir.
Okay, I have to do pro bono. At times I have to do voluntary work. If they are doing an event, maybe in a church, in an organization, okay, let me be the one to print the flyer, let me be the one to do the design. I just want to get my business in their faces. Okay, so when they see the value of what I'm doing, and when they saw it, they were giving me contracts. And because I did it well, now I'm eating well.
Fantastic.
So basically, that's what it is. Yeah?
Thank you. So
yes,
volunteer if you have to, do pro bono if you have to, whatever you're doing, do it well. And what you start off doing for free, they'll end up paying you for eventually.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melody Fidel.
All right, thank you.
So I have a question for Evelyn, and we're going to have an opportunity for people from the floor to ask questions. So do please jot down any questions you may want to ask. Is there such a thing, Evelyn, as a universal problem-solving hack?
That's interesting. So it's around principles, isn't it? So it's a process. So can we use the same process or principles to solve problems? And essentially, I would say yes. So first of all is analysing what that problem is. So we need to understand, why do we have this problem? What is that problem? And when we assess, when we assess what that problem is, we then try to start solutionizing. So, no matter what the problem is, we start from the first base point. What is the problem? How do I address this problem? Who is impacted by this problem? And then we start looking at, okay, how do I solve this problem? Who do I collaborate with? So, yes, there are universal principles that we can apply to different situations, universally, that we can come to the same result. So first of all, we also look at what is our end result. So what do we want to happen? So what's our to be, for instance? And then we look at our as is, and then we look at the gap analysis. So there is a bridge that takes us from our as is to our to be. So yes, I do feel that there is universal principles and processes that we can use to resolve many problems. And again, it's about mindset as well.
It's
How
about
do we view
mindset
that?
yet again. So analyze the problem, collaborate with people who can potentially help, and then keep your desired end in mind so that you can plan accordingly with the resources that you have to reach that end. Thank you very much for that. Grace, what advice would you give to someone starting a cross-national business, so from one country to another?
Thank you so much. Everyone that wants to start has to start from somewhere. Then understanding where you are going into, it's so important. So you need a bit of the knowledge, the culture, and you need to have served people along that continent, because they're just going to be first of your foot forward. I've had investment opportunities across the country, and one thing that I noticed is most of the people that helped in maybe raising capital, seeing the investment opportunities where people had served from my home country. Like also to just address what she said about we leaving money on the table, I needed to quickly say something about that. 2 years ago, I attended a conference in Dubai with Doctor, my mentor. So we had Dr. Ibukwa Oshika, so we had an opportunity to ask her questions. I also like what she talked about scaling. I had been doing so well that there was so many people who wanted to just bring money for real estate investment, and most importantly, the banks were just calling at my door, and I was a bit in confusion. So it doesn't matter that we did not have knowledge when we started, but when you start to grow, you need to begin to work or talk to people that can tell you, don't do this, and you say, yes, ma. So I spoke with her and I explained to her that I want to really scale, not really that I'm not doing well, but there's so much money everywhere. What do you think? And she said, okay, how have you got into this place? Do you owe a bank? I said, no, I don't. And then just continue with the strategy. What you just need to do is to expand that strategy. So you can't begin to take short-term loans for a long-term business. That was because when I was coming to that conference to Dubai, I was a bit confused. So here you are, you're doing so well. People want to give you some very good numbers, good figures. They've told you everything. So going to a country and they want to put all that in your table. Who are you talking to? Who is advising you? Who can you say no when you know that it will not work? And guess what? Do you know that you can still expand without doing that? Just listening to her and said, increase the strategy. So if it's 10 people that have made you go this far because they believe, number one, you have too much integrity. That's what she said. Then just increase the 10 people to 20 people. So just hearing from her, she's done so well. She's my mentor, and telling me, no, you don't have to take this. I went back to the drawing board, and I started to talk to more people. And something that I thought would never be possible became possible. Like in Nigeria, most of the things, the problem we have is that there are a lot of people, especially Nigerians in diaspora, really want to buy projects. Like somebody said it, they said no matter where you are, you want to still do something at home. And one of the problems was that now there's no longer trust on any developer. They're not even interested. And so just hearing her, I started to think of, how can I do this? And now we just launched a project. We are the first real estate company to give you keys before we ask for money. Yes. And the reason all you just have to do is just book for an interest. I'm interested. And we say, no problem. When we give you the key, we'll collect our money. But the key is still with us. So when we say, give me my money, and you don't give it to me, I keep my key back. You know, and before we could even say launch, we had over 150 people subscribed. So it means that nothing is truly impossible. Just have the right mentor. That's why people said, okay, you now start to go and coach people, start to mentor people. There's so much, the way you started, you have grown. People need to know like that. So when you are going to other countries, first of all, serve the country. Serve your people in the country. Through them, they will give you all that you need to know. Be ready to educate yourself. Be ready to just forget all that you know from where you are coming from and learn the new language in where you are going to. And I tell you, there's no limitation. None. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Evelyn, can I ask you that same question? Like, what advice would you give to someone? It would be interesting to hear it from your perspective as well. What advice would you give to someone who wants to expand their business across national borders?
So definitely number one, I would say collaboration. Collaboration is so key. So you really need to understand, and I really like what Madam Grace said as well, which is you need to serve the country and understand the country that you actually want to expand into. So giving an example, when we wanted to expand into Dubai, we had to collaborate. And we had, because you can't just walk into the country and then set up business. It doesn't work like that. So you really need to understand the landscape, you need to understand the culture, and also respect the culture. So what I've seen quite a lot is that people go into other countries and actually have a total disregard of the culture and how they do business. So I think it's really important that you understand the culture. Even doing business in Nigeria is a different culture from doing in the UK, and also in Dubai. So I do believe that you need to find sponsors within that country, and I don't mean financial sponsors. I mean people that will sponsor your dream and work with you. And of course, it always has to be a win-win situation. And I really like, again, when I go back to what Madam Grace said as well, you have to serve people with integrity and with pure love. So if you're working together, and this will be a win-win situation for both of us, people want to work with you. But if you're just looking at this from your angle and your vantage point of what can I get, and not actually looking at it from a point of view of even servitude, how do we work? Also, my colleague here, Fidel, said something about even doing pro bono. Maybe you need to do that if you want to expand into territories and countries that you're not familiar with. So I would definitely say the number one, the big C, collaboration. Don't try and keep it all to yourself. Learn from people that have already traveled that path as well, because you're not the first, so there are others that have traveled that path. Step into that light as well and work with people with good character and integrity.
Thank you. So collaborate and learn. Collaborate and learn. So how are we doing for time? We've run out of time? We've run out of time. Okay, so can we do Q&A now? Okay, so I'm going to sit down to do Q&A. How many questions? So, questions? Any questions? Okay, yes, please. Please go ahead with your question. Yes, please. She needs a microphone. Is it possible to get a microphone to the lady standing up? I don't know, you can leave this one if she needs a Okay, there's one. Isabel has one right there. Okay. Would you like to use this one? No, it's okay. If they can you get Adedoyin, here, you can just give her this one, please. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the panelists. It's been quite impactful and insightful, the nugget you've been dropping to us. I really appreciate you. I just want to ask, because my own passion is regarding inclusivity to all. So from what you've been saying, there's been need for assessing mentorship. There's also been need for collaboration. There's also been need for learning. There's been need for learning. So I just want to know, in all these areas, how accessible is it for people with diverse needs, which is disability? That is, how do they access this? Is there any way, are you thinking of that? Or even in those things that you have done, is it inclusive to all? So just to know there are people here, some might have relatives, children with disability, but then they don't know how to actually access these skills to attain leadership. So I would like to know what's accessible out there and if you are actually thinking of it. Thank you.
I can take that one. I think the honest answer is that we need to do better in this country at that, and we aren't getting it right. That said, there are things available that you can do. So there are specialist recruitment companies that specialise in helping and supporting people with diverse needs, physical, mental disability, etc. Speaking as somebody who has a hidden disability, so I have a genetic illness, which is not contagious, don't worry. But it affects me. So I can talk to that question with a little bit of empathy, knowing that everybody's experiences are different. But I think part of it is vocalising what you need. Because a big thing with disability, be it known or unknown or hidden disability, is that there's a stigma with it. And sometimes people are afraid, or they will not look, or they will not voice their needs. And if you voice your need as somebody that needs extra and additional support, hopefully the people around you will lean in and find you that help. And if they do not, then I think it's a very good litmus test of, is this an environment that I want to be in? Are these people that I want to surround myself by? And if the answer to that is no, then you probably weren't going to thrive in that situation in the first place. So I'm saying that with the caveat of we need better systems, we need better structures. There are already companies that are doing great things around trying to further greater access and mobility within companies, but it's a journey.
Yes. Okay. So Melody Fidel would like to add
to
that as well.
Okay. So I'm going to be looking at it from another angle. Yeah. Now, there's something I do called Stability and Sustenance, a platform where I groom, create entrepreneurs, help them with business grants and mentorship. Now, in that platform, we have everybody and anybody. Though we are focused more on females and 5% of the female gender, but we even have someone who can't move. Now, she came into the platform as a makeup artist, and she's on a wheelchair. How do you want to do your makeup artist moving around? So as a brand, what did we do? I said, you can't do this. Why not do something that you can do sitting down? And we changed that to baking of chinchi and doing pastries. And we had to set our buyer oven. And she's doing well in that platform. So what I'm saying, a call to action for all entrepreneurs and business persons. Most time, we don't have to wait for the government to give us this accessibility. Okay? We ourselves, in our own little way, we can be the change we seek. Okay, just like what we are doing with the Stability and Sustainable platform. So I think that way, together, we can build the kind of community we want for everyone with equal rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think I want to really add to this because it's very personal and emotional to me. One of the reasons why I really desired to be wealthy was for people. And people that know me very well, a lot of them are in this room, they know that you can hardly even know that I even own a penny. So what we have done is to identify people that are good in it. You know, I might not be able to know what to, even if I mentor or coach people, those kind of people might not want me to coach them. But we identified organizations that are doing excellently well. And so we just fund big. You know, I tell a lot of people, anytime I have opportunity to say something, is that what comes to you if you become a channel. And so what we just do every day, I personally just look for who can I bless. And so when I have opportunity to see this kind of people, there's already somebody that is taking care of them or somebody that knows how to mentor them. I don't try and focus on my focus. So the one I know how to do it, I do it very well, excellently well. I would rather just fund it. Let's fund things like this.
Thank you. So let the change start with you, and you don't necessarily have to start a new organization. There's probably an organization somewhere that's doing what you're seeking, and if you can support by funding, then please support. Please go ahead, madam.
Okay, I'm Raimat Adeduro, and I want to ask this question, although it's channeling from the first panel session that we had when our young man asked around sponsoring the young children now, putting funds together and sponsoring them. What's one of my own anxiety currently as a parent is we grew up with the hard and the community guidance, and we are thriving well to be successful. But the current kids they don't have that background. They don't have the hard hand because of policies in place. What are the things we are trying to put in place as a group of women? Coming from the question he asked earlier, what are the things we are trying to put in place, even if it's basic, getting the kids together on how to grow their confidence? I searched Sunlight because I really wanted my kid to be a person of their own. And I was only able to see one group. It's called Rise, and they pick children from 15 to 17, vigorous process, and take them out and teach them on how to become independent people that add value to the organization, to the world itself. So what do we think going forward? Because honestly, that's one of my anxiety. I know I'm going to do well because they brought me up to struggle, hustle, and make a success out of it. These kids, they are struggling, but they are not sure of what it could be, their potentials could be. What are we saying as business owners, successful business owners, as a group, on what we can do add value to them? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Evelyn, you can take that one.
Thank you. That's definitely a powerful question and something that I do believe businesses should be thinking about. So with our business, so we have multiple businesses, and my husband, who's the visionary of these businesses, had always said a percentage of our business will go into our NGO. So to give you an example, what we've done with those NGOs is, I would say 2 years ago, we partnered with Microsoft to educate children. So first of all, digital literacy, not only for women, but also for children. And so I do believe that's a commitment. It was something that we funded. That was a percentage of our profits that went into the NGO. So not only did we do that, so I absolutely get your passion, because it's very important that we teach those behind us and also open doors. Because one of the things that you might have seen, especially as a parent, is that coding technology is advancing. And there are many that actually can't afford, even in this country. So they can't afford to send their children to those type of classes. So we offer those for free by partnering with Microsoft. In Nigeria, we went into the camps and we supported by helping teachers in terms of education. So we went there, first of all, I think, to educate maybe 10 teachers. We ended up training 300 teachers in terms of maths and English. So that's through the NGO. So what I would say, and my encouragement would be to all business owners and entrepreneurs, is actually, what is your humanitarian response back to the nation, the community that you work in? Put a percentage aside and actually support. So we owe it not only to just our children, but our children who, their friends. All of them are our children in schools. So I also serve as a governor. I have for the last 14 years for an academy. And so I think it's really important that we pay back. How do we give back if you're not on the boards? If you're not a governor in a school, how are you giving back? How are you finding out what the needs are? How are you understanding the gender bias also and cultural bias that you have in certain areas? So I do feel that we need to be around the table. We need to be represented and take it upon ourselves to, I think you said, to be the change that you want to see.
Thank you so much. So it seems we've run out of time. I know if you still have a question, please catch up with any one of the speakers at the back, I guess, just to ask the question that you may have. If I can just crave your indulgence, just to get a final word from each, just a final word, just one sentence summary, a take home for people. I can see lots of people have questions for you, so please do ask them the questions afterwards. But please, final word, please.
Okay, it's very important that we keep our culture of who we are, and every day something will come to you. I recently had a white, that's somebody that is not a Nigerian, fully invest in our company. After like 2 years, he wanted the money back. And that was in the agreement. Then he gave us bought something. Anyway, I want to say something, please, very important, because he gave us when dollar was 350. I gave him back the money when dollar was 750. Everybody thought it was madness. And I said one word: if there's one person in this world that will prove that Nigeria still had some integrity, it should be me. And I tell you, I did not suffer loss, because there is a way that your integrity will make up for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. So that's values. Melody Fidel, please, your final word.
All right, thank you. So I will start by saying what when Dr. Mrs. Owosika was rounding off with what she said something. She said, I wrote it down. He said, Nigeria has a boundary, but your opportunities and career have no boundaries, right? So it's like a blank check. It's like a board for you to draw whatever you want when it comes to life. It's for you to get to anywhere you want to be, okay? The principle of entrepreneurship are the same. Basically, they're commonsensical, okay? It's for you to understand the approach, the strategies, the methods you need to apply for your own business to scale through and for your life to scale through in general. I'm Melody Fidel, and I remain your friend. Thank you.
So apply sound principles. So Dr. Evelyn.
I would say believe in yourself, because you have to believe in yourself before anybody else will. I would also say invest in yourself. You are your greatest asset. And I would also say do not give up. Little by little, you will get there. Do not give up.
Thank you, Dr. Evelyn. And then Beth, final words?
Think big, Think big. Aim out, and you'll get there faster than you think. And just be focused and believe in yourself.
Thank you, everyone. So a huge round of applause for the panelists today. So they've spoken about limitless ventures, soaring above setbacks. So we've learnt about your values, integrity. We've learnt about... Am I okay? Yeah? Okay. So think big. Do what you need to do. Apply sound principles, and you'll get there. Thank you so much for your time. And remember that they're available for you to ask questions.
Thank you so very much.